I'm Alex. I'm with Cloze. Thanks for joining our EXP CRM of choice session. Today, I'm going to start off with some slides, go into a live demo, go back and forth. Today is all about how you can use Cloze on a daily basis. We're going to do a little bit of a recap at the beginning, and then we're going to dive in to getting into that daily routine using Cloze, using the AI-powered personal assistant features inside of Cloze. My colleagues are on YouTube answering questions there, and in EXP world, they're happy to answer any questions that you have. So ask as many as you like. Got a lot to pack in today, so I'm going to dive right in. I'm going to repeat a little bit of the organization of your spheres presentation that I did earlier or did last week. Lots of presentations here we've been doing all summer. We do presentations every Monday and Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. So if you want to join our next class, you can join on Wednesday. We've got 3 classes that are in rotation. We got a few more that we're going to start introducing, one specifically on Canva. So that'll be coming soon. Your marketing team will announce that as well. Today, I'm going to start off with that recap, and then we're going to get into how to use Cloze on a daily basis. There's a number of features that drive your daily routine. That's what we're going to talk through. So if you stay really close to your sphere, you get a lot of results. That's what it boils down to. So we'll talk about our goal tracking. We'll talk about our keep in touch reminders, all kinds of things that all that information flowing through Cloze can do to assist you. And so that's where our artificial intelligence really shines. And that's how you can get a lot out of your sphere, get those repeat clients and referrals on a regular basis. Okay, so when it comes to organizing, there's kind of some core pieces here that we want to make sure we have a good grasp on. The goal of the organization of your entire sphere is to give you a really solid foundation. Now, when I say entire sphere, I don't mean all contacts. What I mean are the core people that matter to your business. Typically, we're talking about a few hundred people, 1 to 200 people, maybe a little more or more over time. But there's a core group of people. These are people that you've helped buy, sell, rent in the past, people that refer you on a regular basis, anybody in your network who raises their hand when somebody asks, can you recommend a realtor? So that's who we want to get organized to start with. One of the things we talked about in the last class is that you can also add tags. So tags are outside that journey that we talk about. So buyer and seller journey, renter journey. We've got stages and segments to keep track of that. And then we've got tags. So those are the 2 primary ways you can organize. One of the nice things about all the integrations with Cloze is that some of this organization can happen automatically. So for example, if you connect your SkySlope account, we're going to bring in all the people that were in SkySlope on your side and automatically classify them as Cloze buyers or Cloze sellers. So that will save you time. If you have contacts in Microsoft 365 or Google and you connect one of those sources, we're going to bring in those contacts. Any tags or labels you have in there will also come into Cloze automatically. Okay, so there's some really nice ways that things just happen. And then you'll hear me say a number of times, if you have a spreadsheet of your contacts exported out of another CRM, or you've got a spreadsheet you just kept up to date, you can send that to our team and we're more than happy to import it into your account. So you don't have to struggle doing that. I know a lot of systems, you're kind of on your own. We take care of that for you. So just reach out to our team, support@cloze.com. They're more than happy to help you. Okay. So that's what we're going to start off with. And then we're going to get the daily use of Cloze. So one of the things I want to start with here is the recap, but I also want to show you some of the customization and views that we went through as well. So I'm going to go over into a demo account here. This is the getting started style one that is more empty, right? This is the one we used in the last class. When you come into Cloze, you're going to see these getting started steps. So we're working down this list, and that's what these 3 classes are all about. Last class, we talked about how to import your contacts. If you click on this, you can see the options here. If you haven't downloaded the mobile apps, so download your iPhone app or your Android app, just search for Cloze, C-L-O-Z-E, in the Apple App Store, Google Play Store, and then you can download the app and just sign in the way you signed in on the web, okay? When you're in there, you can also import your phone contacts, which I do recommend. If you're on your desktop, like I am, and you click on Start, we'll ask for your mobile phone number. We'll text you a link so you can just download it from there, okay? Easy to do. Import a file. as I mentioned, there's this option here. It says, let us import your file. If you click on that, it brings up an email right to our support team. And then you just tap on the paperclip and send us the file and we'll take care of it. Okay. Right here, you can type in a few notes, about the file, and that'll help guide us a little bit, but just tap send in the upper right and we'll get the email and we'll get right back to you. Okay. Easy way to send us your spreadsheet. So export your spreadsheet out of KV Core or whatever you're moving from, and then send it to us and we'll make sure to get that in for you. The next thing we reviewed was organizing your top 50 people. If you click on this, this is where you've got that fast organizing tool. Okay. Now, if you weren't in our last class, I want to show you the basics of this so you can go back and do it yourself. You don't have to do it as we're in the class here, but it is a helpful way to quickly organize your contacts. So the way to read this is you can see we're looking at Helen here. Okay, that's her name. You see Helen's name. And then going this direction down here, so vertically, we've got buyer, buyer and seller, seller, renter. So that's who Helen is to me. I'm picking from one of those four options. She's either a buyer or a seller, etc. If she's transacting both ways with me, she's a buyer and seller. Now, if I go the other direction horizontally, warm, hot, in contract, and close, those are what we call stages. And so that's more of your judgment call of where Helen is on the journey. So if she's an in contract buyer, okay, I just tap on the check mark. That's the intersection point. Very fast and easy. So I've got Gina, and she's a warm seller. So you can see this column is warm. This row here is seller, the intersection point, tap on the check mark. And it just advances to the next person. Now you might be thinking, how do you pick these contacts? And the way we do it is based on how well you know the person. So we use our relationship AI to understand your relationships with all the contacts in your database. So that's using and analyzing your calls, your texts, your emails, and your meetings to understand how frequently you talk and that kind of thing. And then we organize them. So instead of going alphabetically here, you should know the people. I know if I sort my Cloze account alphabetically, there's a bunch of people at the top that I have no idea who they are because just don't interact with them, right? So the ones you put at the top are going to be the people that matter to you. So you should recognize these people. If you don't, you can click on the arrow here and skip. So if I can't remember who Chuck is, I can just skip ahead, click on the arrow, see the arrow down here on the right. Now I've got Holly, and I know she's a hot seller. I've got another Holly, hot seller. And then Bran, he's a warm buyer. Louis here is buyer and seller. You can keep going through the group. I don't recognize Abe. I can move on. And I've got another warm seller. Very quick, okay? When you're done, you're going to see a menu here. We'll talk a lot about keep in touch reminders in a moment, but this is how frequently Cloze will remind you based on the journey for each type of contact. So I've got a buyer's journey, buyer and seller, sellers, renters, different cycles for different groups of people. So my warm buyers, I'm reminded every 3 weeks if I don't talk to them. The key thing, whenever we're talking about keep in touch reminders, is this based on how frequently you talk to the person across your email, your calls, your texts, and your emails. So if I haven't talked to somebody in 3 weeks, Cloze will remind me. If I'm continuously talking to somebody who's a warm buyer, then I won't get a reminder because I'm already talking to them. So we only remind you if you're not communicating with that person. Okay. When you're done, click on save. Now, if we go to the people section, you can see we've got different views. I'm going to switch to the table view. That's my favorite view, but you can pick whatever view you like. I like the table view because it's compact, but we've got other ones that you can pick from. So you can see here all the contacts I've organized so far. I skipped over Harold. I skipped over a few others as we were going through it. So you could right here, Abe, I skipped over. Remember Chuck, I just skipped over. So you can see in that row, they're not organized. But if I click on Chuck, one of the things I can do is I can look through the timeline here and get myself reacclimated to who the person is, right? So I'm trying to remember, all right, who's Chuck? Okay, last time I talked to him was in January, but whatever it might be, I can see my notes here. On the right side is where you organize who the person is to you and where they are in that journey. Across the top, warm, hot, in contract, closed, and lost. Those are our stages. And then remember the segments we just looked at. Okay. And you can pick some of the other ones here. Core, are going to be things like buyer and seller. There are others, the A, B, C, and D's. These are used in a lot of coaching programs. So if you've done Ninja Selling or Buffini, others, they use the A, B, C, D approach to classifying. You can use that or not. If you want to remove these, I'll show you in a second how to remove those. But generally think of it as A is like a super fan. They love you. They always recommend you. B is like a notch below that. C are people you just know. And then D are people you're trying to get to know. That's the general way to think of it. But again, those are optional. And then if you keep going, you're going to see personal segments. So family and friends are going to be typically down there. But you don't need to organize your family and friends if you don't want to. Okay. So that's the journey right there. Now, when it comes to, so if I want to organize him, very simply, just click on the stage and it will set the default, which is buyer in my account. If I go down to Abe here, I know he's a seller, and then I could say he's warm. Easy. Okay. Now, the other thing we reviewed is doing this in bulk. So if I want to organize many contacts at once that I know are in the same category, I could tap on the check marks next to their names, and then come over here on the right, tap on the big check mark, lower right corner, and then select change. And then from here, I can modify the stage and the segment. So if I knew they were all hot sellers, I'd hit save, and then it would bulk update all of them. So now I've just updated all 7 contacts, and you can see how they were all updated to hot seller. So that's a very fast way to organize many contacts at once as well. If you want to bring up that quick organize tool, little wizard that I showed you, you can do it from that plus button, and then you can return. So it's going to skip down to the first person you have not organized. But again, organized by the people you know best. You'll see them at the top. Okay. All right, so the next thing we're going to look at is our tags. You're going to see an option here called tags. See where it says add tags? I can type in anything I want here. So if I want to start typing a tag, you can see VIP is a tag that I've already used. This is a demo account, so I only have 3 people. Select VIP, and now I've added that tag. I've got another one here called holiday. If I want to select that, I can. Now, if I want to create a new tag, say the tag is called new, literally, see how it's grayed out? It's never been used before. So I can just select, and it will create the tag. If I want to remove the tag, click on the X. Very simple, okay? And then anytime I want to find people with that tag, I can start typing the name of the tag, put the hashtag in first, and then you can bring back everybody on that. So I have 4 people with the holiday card tag. You can see in this column there, they have that tag. Okay. Very simple, easy to do. Now, when you're looking at a contact, last thing here, right side of the screen is where you're going to see all kinds of things you can add. If I click on at a glance, I can add notes, things like that, details. I can expand and add things like the spouse. So who's the spouse? I can link them. I can track referrals and link them as well. Easy to do. Important dates, birthday, wedding anniversary, purchase anniversary, real estate review. These are all dates I can add if I'd like. If you want to add a date, just simply click on it, click on the drop down in the middle. You can pick the year, and then you can pick the months. So you can go back. So say I know it happened in 2020 on March 3rd. Now I set that date. Okay. So very simple, just expand the section you need. It will stay expanded unless you collapse it. Okay. You need to edit a contact, click on edit. And then you can add other information in here. Pictures, things like that, details of the name. If I click on contact info, I can add phone numbers and that kind of stuff. Easy. Okay. All right. So that was a quick overview of those basics. The different views remember down the side here. So I'm in the people section. There's the inbox. So if you want to send email, reply to email, you can do it from there. It's just a regular inbox like Outlook or Gmail, no difference. Properties, this is where your properties from EXP will come in automatically. They're there. And then a few things in settings just to point out. If you want to connect anything else, tap on connected accounts and then click on add. So you can see I've got 2 Gmail accounts here. If I click on add, and then I go down to the real estate section, this is where I can add SkySlope. Okay. When you connect SkySlope, it'll walk you through the steps to connect. Okay. It's easy to do, but there's lots of other things here that you can connect. So if you're using BombBomb, for example, very popular, you could do that, or DocuSign, etc. .loop too, if you use that. I'll also point out that there are some apps that are not going to be in these lists that you'll see in other platforms. So ZenList is a good example of that. So instead of going here, you go to ZenList and connect. So I've got a slide I'm going to bring up next to show you how to do that. A few of you may have also wondered about the look and feel. So I changed my color scheme. So if you're in the display and layout, you can change a bunch of things. So if I wanted to make things a little larger, I can do that. Notice the options here. There's standard, which is our default, and then mono, which is like a blue color, and then black. So I was in black. You can turn that on. You'll also see periodically in this section betas. So these are beta features that we're offering to the community to try. So if there's anything in here you want to try, you can turn those on. So if you want to try Cloze in a different language, you can turn that on and it will match the language of your country. And then things like calendar booking, so booking a meeting directly from Cloze, that's available. And then we're testing some new designs for the journey that I was showing you, the stage and segment area. So if you want to try that out, you can. Okay. So a few things to point out in there. Again, that's in the display and layout section if you want to try any of those things. Okay. All right. Let's switch over back to my slides here, and we'll talk about ZenList for a moment. ZenList is a really, really helpful application when you're working with Cloze, because we want to get in these situations. We've got somebody in our sphere. We're trying to stay close to them. And instead of them drifting off to something like Zillow, we want to keep them close. And so ZenList gives us a really nice way to serve up listings that match their criteria. You get a dedicated app where they're interacting just with you, not anybody else. And it's connected directly to the MLS. So their feeds are really fast. And so it's a really nice application. But you have to connect from inside of ZenList. So I'm in ZenList right now, this screenshot here. So start there. And then at the very bottom, lower, it's kind of hard to see, lower left corner there, there's a picture of yourself. Click on that. And that's going to bring you over to settings. From there, you can click on integrations, and you're going to see Cloze in the list. If you tap on Cloze right there, will pop up approve, and that'll approve the connection between ZenList and Cloze. Okay. So the nice thing about that, and I'm going to switch over to a different account here, is once you have it connected, bring up a comment. Somebody I know is connected here. All of the communications and activity that happens on ZenList will sync over. So you can see she viewed this listing here. You'll see that in the timeline. You can see it says ZenList. She requested a tour of this property. You can even see what the property is and click on view details. So for anybody out there that's looking for something tight between Cloze and, sending your properties and doing safe search and things like that, the ZenList integration is a really nice integration for you to use. And so take advantage of that, given that EXP offers it. But you can see all the activity coming in, even notes. So if there's a note, she added a little note in here, love the kitchen, and you can see what's there, that kind of thing. If they chat with you through ZenList, that'll come into Cloze too. So lots of activity comes in automatically, and it's just a really nice way to bring all that together in one place. Okay. All right. So let's dive into the class here. The rest of the class, I'm going to dive into how you can use Cloze on a daily basis. So we're going to talk about the Cloze agenda. Think of that as your action plan of the day. That's using all of our AI personal assistant features to surface things that are important. As you're going through this, think about it in terms of how can I get the most done in the shortest amount of time? That's generally the way I would think about it. So instead of what you find in other CRM systems, where you have to do a lot of sorting and filtering and trying to figure out what to do, Cloze is surfacing the important things to help you stay close to your sphere, how to build a very strong referral network, stay on top of it. So it's kind of like having a coach built in, because it's going to be recommending people you should get back in touch with. It's going to be reminding you about birthdays and purchase anniversaries and sale anniversaries, real estate reviews. It's going to catch things you might have missed in your inbox. It's going to grab leads that you have. It's just going to put all that together into one place for you so you can work down it. So the goal is really to get to the bottom of your agenda every day. I will also say you don't need to spend a ton of time. The general target is about 20 minutes a day going through it. Certainly, if you connect with somebody on the phone, it might be longer than that, but invest in that amount of time, and then you get on with the rest of your day, and then you can use Cloze on the mobile app, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. So think about it in terms of a routine, and you'll be in really good shape. All the top performing agents I know have some kind of a routine that keeps them close to their sphere, and then they can manage what's kind of the here and now for the rest of the day. I like to start off with Shirley here because she tried a lot of CRMs. She tried a lot of tools, a lot of platforms over the years. And now she's been on Cloze for quite a long time. But her point was, and why she landed on Cloze is what kept drawing back to her was the artificial intelligence. Her ability to find people in her database and resurface them made all the difference. And it made a meaningful difference to her business. And so that's the way to think of it. If the tools aren't making a meaningful difference in your business, then you have to question the tool. So it's not just a list of contacts. This is how it impacts you, right? It's designed to surface people and give you those opportunities, because time goes by very fast. It's easy to miss somebody. It's easy to forget them, and then they drift off. There's all kinds of statistics about people saying, I'd love to use my agent again, and then people don't. And that's because we lose touch. And so that's why she says she loves these moments, because there's these like, oh, that client, I can't believe I forgot about that client, which can happen. You get busy and all of a sudden you realize so much time has gone by. I also like to include Julia. You'll see a pattern here. I like to include people actually using Cloze in my presentations, because that's, it's their voice. They're the ones that are out there on the front lines. And so don't just take my word for it. There's lots of agents that use Cloze on a daily basis to keep track of their sphere. Now, the reason I like including Julia is because she was highly skeptical, right? She tried a lot of systems and she didn't get a lot out of them. And that is the truth. A lot of CRMs are a lot of work, and a lot of marketing platforms are a lot of work. There's just a lot of things you have to do manually. And so our goal with Cloze is to automate out all the busy work, get it done for you so you can do what you do best. One of the amazing things about artificial intelligence is that it can just do a lot of things in the background that would be hard for us to do without a lot of labor. And so let it work for you. And that is her general point. She was skeptical. She wasn't sure. She left the first class saying, this is probably not for me, but then came back because she did what we said, which is what today's class is all about. And she started working that agenda. And between the first class and second class, she called somebody up or texted them, and past client of hers, somebody she had worked with in the past, and he got back to her and he was ready to buy again. So if we hadn't surfaced it, she probably wouldn't have reached out to him, and he could have drifted off. Right. And so that's the point to take away. So if you take away anything today, it's those keep in touch reminders. So I like to think about Cloze in terms of the daily routine. Again, those top performing agents have a routine. Every time I talk to somebody, they're like, yep, here's what I do. I do this, and then I do this. And then, it's like they get some exercise. Some people meditate. Then, they have this routine, and it makes a difference. What we're doing is teeing up that whole day for you in one place. So you've got keep in touch reminders, birthdays, all that typical stuff. Start there, work down your list. People on your warm list and hot list. So we were talking about warm and hot a moment ago. Well, warm, right? That's a warm list. So think of that as somebody who's a lead, but not quite there. Hot, you've talked to them. you've confirmed they're going to transact in the next 60 to 90 days. So you hear that a lot from coaching. Like, do you have a warm list? Do you have a hot list? Cloze is going to take the people on the warm list and hot list and put them on your agendas. You don't have to go look for the warm list and hot list, right? If you're out of touch with them, Cloze will tell you. You're going to see meetings from your calendar in there. Great. Scan the day. What do you have on your schedule for the day? So you want to try to work through as much as you can in that first part of the day. But if you don't get to it, all of it, that's totally fine. You can always find time during the day. Little moment here. It's mobile. Everything you do on your iPhone, you can also do on your computer. No difference at all. Doesn't matter if you're Android or iPhone. So you can always grab your agenda, go through it, say, what did I not take care of between your meetings, right? Afternoon, you might be back on your computer. Everything's synced securely in the cloud, so it's all there for you, ready to go. Anything you did on your phone will be synced over. So if you took notes, that kind of thing with clients, you'll see them on your computer. And then end of day, I like to kind of review my agenda, see what's coming up next for the next day. We have some features built in. Again, those best practices to confirm your meetings. The worst thing is to show up at an appointment and then the person never shows. They say they forgot. So just use our simple confirmation template in your calendar to reach out, makes it easy. Okay. So again, think of the agenda as your action plan for the day. It's going to group all things together that need to be done in a convenient format. You can customize it if you want, but dive in there and it will make a difference to your business. Now, I say this in all my classes. Resist the urge to go into your email inbox at the start of your day. I should probably add social media here too. I would say don't go into your social media either, because it's easy to waste a couple of hours and all of a sudden you look up and your whole morning has been shot. I think of other people's email coming in my inbox as their agenda on top of me, but I have some strategic things I need to do. So I'm going to start on the agenda and I'm going to work through that, right? Instead of just working on the email. I'm not saying you're not going to do your email. You will get there eventually, but focus on your business first and then get to those other activities. The most important emails are going to come into Cloze on the agenda anyway. So the important stuff is going to be there. You can work through those, but rather than getting lost in a never-ending inbox, it's a really great way to start on that agenda. I actually start on my phone because if I want to make calls, it's just a simple swipe and I'm on the phone. It's going to change every single day. So you're going to see a variety of different things. It's going to update automatically. Some days you'll have birthdays, some days you won't. Some days you'll have a ton of meetings, some days you'll have one. Really depends on what's happening. As the day unfolds, more things will show up though, right? So if you book a meeting or if you get calls and that you've been taking all day, those are going to start showing up. So lots of different things will be on the agenda. We've designed it to make it very easy to take action. So instead of taking a list, taking a piece of paper out or a notepad or even a note-taking app, all of that's great, but then you have to go somewhere else to email, to call, to text, whatever you're going to do. With Cloze, you can just swipe and send an email, swipe and make a call, swipe and text, like these very simple actions, so you don't have to go somewhere else to do it. And then when you're done, you can mark it done if you want. And most of the time, we're just going to clear it for you because you did the action. So if you swipe to the right, that's things like call and email. When you're done with something, you want to clear it, you go to the left. So if you want to mark a to-do done or a step done or something like that. Okay. So very simple. Keep in touch reminders. Let's start there. So if you remember from the first class, or if you've already set up your Cloze account, hopefully you've done that by now. You've connected your email, your calls, your phone, so your phone logs, so your calls and texts, and your calendar are all connected. Cloze is using that information and analyzing way back in time to figure out who you know and who you know well and understand your communication patterns. And that lets us do all kinds of interesting things on your behalf. So if you get out of touch with somebody, we're going to remind you automatically on the agenda. It's based on your real activity. It's not an arbitrary date. So if you say, remind me every 15 days, 2 weeks, whatever it might be, Cloze isn't going to just remind you on repeat. It's only going to remind you if you haven't been in touch with that person. So I like this quote from Spencer, because traditional CRM, you have to spend all your time setting reminders for yourself to call people back, or you have to filter your list by some kind of date that you set of the last time you contacted somebody. Hope you remembered to do that, and then start making your calls. So his point here is he doesn't do that. He just runs down the agenda and calls everybody on the agenda, and he's done. That's the way you should think of it too. So when it comes to keep in touch reminders, it's using that contact history. So calls, texts, emails, meetings, your real live communications, to understand the last time you talked to somebody. So in this case, last time I talked to Gina Harris was 28 days ago. It's going to understand your patterns. So if you talk on a historically every 28 days and it's beyond that, it's going to remind you. The reminder is going to be based very clearly on the last time you talked. That simple. Okay. There's a couple of types too, just to be aware of. Some of them is based on our AI, and others are based on those distinct patterns that or frequency you've set in your settings. So remember when we were going through the setup there, it was like, I want to be reminded every week about a hot buyer. Cloze can very easily do that, and it'll be based on your real communication. So we'll only remind you if you get out of touch. It can also find patterns using our AI. So you may see somebody, you might get a reminder about something more, earlier than what you've set, because Cloze determine you usually talk more frequently than that. We also have what are called blast from the past reminders. And these are people that you once knew really well. Again, us Cloze going all the way back in time and understanding those patterns from a long time ago, which is important in real estate, because you could have helped somebody buy a home, sell a home 7, 8, 9 years ago. They might be back in the market now. And so what Cloze will detect is that you had a strong relationship with somebody a long time ago. And then if you haven't talked in a long time, maybe it's been a couple of years, we're going to resurface those. Agents will always point to those as gold, because those tend to be those reminders. And we only give you a couple of those a day because there isn't that many of them usually. But when we do, that's gold, because they're people that you did know strong very well, and now you've faded. So those tend to be clients, and they tend to be good opportunities too, because it's been a while. It's a good opportunity to rekindle a relationship and stay close to them because a long time has passed. So watch out for the different types. But again, it's just the AI is just monitoring everything for you, so you don't have to. That's a good way to think about it. So I like this from Jay, because he talks about the relief and words like relief and no guilt and things like that, which is fair, because if you're not staying close to your sphere, there is that fear that those clients of yours drift off to another agent. And so he organized his sphere, got everybody in there, and then he just goes into Cloze every day. As he said, he literally just logs in and reaches out, so nothing falls through the cracks. And that yields a tremendous amount of business. And so it's that simple. So think about the dynamic of your day. It will give you an impact if you're reaching out. Just some simple swipes, as I mentioned. First one is to the right is snooze. The next one, send an email. The next one, call. And then going the other way is skip and mute. Very simple. So again, action to the right, finish up to the left. Mute is there because you're going to see some folks every once in a while where the AI is saying, you should get back in touch with this person. And you're like, nope, I'm good. I don't need to talk to them ever again. Great. That's what mute's for. So you're going to see that. It doesn't know how, it very mechanically will know that you're out of touch, but it doesn't necessarily know anything more than that. So you have to make that judgment call. Easy to do. Just mute them. Now, going a little further on how you can fine tune these, it is based on that last time you communicate. You can adjust how frequently we remind you based on the combination of a stage and a segment. So as we looked at earlier, you got a warm seller. You could say, remind me every 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever makes sense. But a hot seller, you could say, remind me every 3 days. So each combination can have a different schedule, but again, always based on your real communications. So did you have a call, a text, email, that kind of thing? You can adjust these settings and how frequently Cloze reminds you in settings on your phone or on your computer. So each segment will have its own set of sliders you can use to adjust. Okay. So I'm going to show you those sliders right after I show you the keep in touch reminders on my phone. All right, so here's Cloze on my phone. And you can see I've got some keep in touch reminders right here. I've got Gina, Ada, Alfie, 7 people all right here. If I swipe, you'll see those actions. So I've got snooze, send an email, call. So wherever I release, so if I release on call, you'll see down here at the bottom, it's got her mobile number. I can tap on that and then dial her up. Okay. If I release on snooze, I can pick when I want to be reminded. So I could say just later than day or tomorrow, whatever makes sense. If I release on email, it's going to bring up an email. So here's an email. Here's my email signature. What you're seeing here is what we call a built-in template. So it's a standard check-in template. These templates actually perform really well, and you can send this off just by tapping on the send button. Very, very simple. Easy to do. You could do that. Now, a few features while we're in here. One, if you want to get your signature set up and you need assistance, reach out to our team, support@cloze.com. They're more than happy to help you. We've got templates that use the information you already have in your Cloze account to populate these. And then there's some different designs you can pick from. Okay. Your marketing team created some. We have a wizard too that you can use, but you can control what's in here. While we're in here, a couple things. See this light bulb down here? That's our AI Ghostwriter. So what it can do is it can write new content for you. It can also edit existing content. It can help you reply to emails, all kinds of things. So anytime you want some assistance in writing, tap on that light bulb. So I've got this built-in template, but if I tap on that light bulb, I can say, why don't you give me a new version of this, edit it, re-edit it, and I'm going to pick one of the options. So it could be clarity, professionalism, authenticity, length, sales potential, whatever you want. I'm going to pick authenticity, and it's going to just rewrite that. So it's been a while since we last chatted, so I want to check in. How's everything going with you? So pretty simple. Now, if I tap on the light bulb again, I could say Ghostwrite a subject. That's the one at the top here. And it's going to write me a new one. There you go. Let's catch up, Gina. Exclamation point. So went by very fast. Almost hard to tell it changed. So done. So now I could tap on send and send this off. Easy to do. Now, a few things while we're in here. Along the right, you're going to see a couple more options here. I could insert the plus button. I can insert other things. I could insert images. If I'm using BombBomb and I have it connected, you'll see it there. YouTube videos, Vimeo, Canva. So anything that can be very helpful that you want to import or add, you can insert right from there. And then this icon here, that's our template icon. If I click on that, tap on that, this is where I could update that existing template to reflect the new one I just created, or I could create a whole new one. So anytime you write an email and you really like it, you could create a template and it goes in your own personal library that only you can access. Okay. Now, switching to the upper right, you're going to notice there's a drop-down menu there. If I click on that, you can see there's a bunch of different options here. I can change when it's going to be sent. So instead of it being sent immediately, I can schedule it. So I could say, I want it to go out tomorrow and then pick the time. So I could say 7:45 and then tap on the check mark. So now when I hit send, it's going to be scheduled to go out tomorrow morning. I could do that. Follow-up reminder, favorite feature of mine, tap on that. If I set this reminder and Gina doesn't reply to me, so see how it says if no reply, then I'm going to get a reminder about this email based on whatever I set below. So I'm going to say next week. So if Gina doesn't reply, Cloze is going to remind me automatically. And always look for the check mark there to set these. So just tap on that check mark. And then where it says tracking, the bell icon there, tracking, that's our email open and link click tracking. Really, really popular feature. Probably the most favorite feature that we have when it comes to email, because people love to know if their clients or the agent they're negotiating with is opening their emails and interacting with them. So if you see like a flurry of activity on an email you sent with Cloze, you know they're reading the email, they're interacting it, maybe they forwarded it. So that's on by default. So when Gina opens this, I'm going to get a notification. Now, another important thing here that I skipped over is that you can edit this email any way you want. I just use the Ghostwriter. You can type in whatever you want. It's also being sent with your real email. So if I was to push send, I would see this in the sent folder in my Gmail outside of Cloze. So anything you send with Cloze will be in your sent folder. If you don't send an email with Cloze, you'll still see that inside in the inbox or tied to the contact. So you don't have to use Cloze all day long for email. You can do it. You get all these extra features, but it is nice if you want to do this quick actions. It's built in, so it's fast. What's also nice is you get the open tracking, the templates, the Ghostwriter, and all that kind of stuff built in there too. Okay. So if you click Cloze, you can delete the message in this case if you want. But the goal here is to work down the list. So I could skip somebody. I could skip Ada. If I skip Alfie here, he just goes away. See, he's gone. Easy. I could snooze somebody for later if I wanted to. Different options for different people. Very, very easy to do. So work down your list. If you invest time here, it makes a big difference. Okay. Now, if I go over to my settings, here's the agenda. Notice how the agenda is the exact same thing on my computer. No difference at all. Open notifications right here. You'll see them on the agenda. So if I sent an email and they opened it, you'll get notified right there. Go to Gina here. So when it comes to your settings, you're going to see different patterns for different people. If I click on the settings icon here, ... select settings. So more settings. I can go down to the customization section. This is where I can adjust those sliders we just took a peek at. If I click on people and companies, you can do this on your phone too. I just wanted to have a bigger screen for you. You'll see all the different segments. So I've got buyers and sellers, people transacting on both sides, buyers, sellers, renters, etc. Each one of these has a gear. And if I click on it, you can see the order, the same order, warm buyer, all, etc. But you can also adjust the sliders for how frequently remind you. Okay. So my account here, warm buyer, every 3 weeks. If I don't talk to somebody that's classified as a warm buyer for 3 weeks, Cloze will remind me. If I'm already talking to them and I continuously talk to them, Cloze won't remind me. So you can see in the background here, this contact I haven't talked to they're a hot buyer. I haven't talked to them in 2 weeks. Sometimes you can see on the left, Ashley here, it says 15 days. If the reminder lands on a weekend and you've set the weekends to off when you're not going to do keep in touch reminders, that's our default, then we'll move it by 1 day. So you're going to see 15 days every once in a while if we're avoiding your off day, which is totally normal, but close enough, right? So when it comes to 2 weeks, that's why you got a hot buyer here. I haven't talked to Ashley in 15 days, so Cloze is reminding me automatically. My hot buying contract buyers, though, you can see it's 3 weeks. It's probably a little long. I probably want to make that more like this, but it's a demo account, so it's okay. My closed buyers, 6 months. You can adjust this to whatever you like. I know a lot of agents who do it every quarter. Make sure they're checking in, whatever makes sense. But closed buyers and sellers you want to stay in flow with them. You want to stay close to them because they can either refer you business, but when they're ready to sell, you want to make sure they're going to be talking to you. Okay. So those are the settings there. You can go and repeat this for any. So if I want to adjust my settings for sellers, you can see there's my schedule. You can adjust these very easily. Easy to do. Okay. So if you have any questions about the keep in touch settings, feel free to ask the team. Happy to go in more, but very easy one to adjust. All right, goal tracking. Goal tracking is a feature that can make a big difference in helping you stay on top of your week. So think of it as a simple way to get an understanding of where you are in your week. Because the weeks get busy and we're trying to stay close to our sphere, what Cloze is building out for you in the goals section is very similar to the Apple Health app, if you ever use that, or the equivalent on the Android platform. Instead of you having to set this up, which is really one of the big challenges of typical goal tracking tools, you have to do a lot of work just to set it up. You don't have to do that with the goal tracking in Cloze. It's analyzing all of your historical information and surfacing what matters, right? So we do it for keep in touch reminders. We also do it to understand you. And so it will understand how frequently you reach out to your sphere. It will understand how people are reacting to your communications. And when you connect SkySlope, it's going to understand how your business is run. So how many sides you do per year, your GCI, that kind of things. So instead of you having to manually set it up, it's just automatically set up and customized and personalized to you. So it gives you a really good understanding of where you are. So we built this in a way that is we did a lot of analysis and really try to understand how a lot of the other systems work out there. And one of the challenges was they don't really understand seasonality. They don't understand the natural ebbs and flows of real estate or you. And so we built that right into it. So if you typically do most of your business in the spring and fall, it understands things might be slower during the other times. It's not going to push you harder if it knows the business just isn't going to happen in those periods. So we also noticed that a lot of them are very focused on the day instead of the week. And you're going to have days where you're off, or you're going to have days where you're super busy and you can't do the typical work you do. It also has to understand when you reach out. So if you typically do your outreach on a Monday, it's not going to be nagging you later in the week as much, but it will make sure at the beginning of the week that says, here's what you need to do for the week. If you do all your outreach on a Wednesday, it's not going to be overly, stressing you out on a Monday. So it understands how you operate, and it's unique to every single person, every single agent using Cloze. It will give you daily pacing though, so you understand where you are in terms of the week and what you need to do to stay on track. So because it understands how you operate, it'll say, hey, 3 more to stay on pace today. You're in good shape. Just stay where you need to go. And if you're behind, it's obviously going to remind you as well. So if you think of a health app, it'll say it understands how you move, and it will nudge you extra flight of stairs, or you got to do how many more steps or whatever it might be. We're doing the exact same thing for your relationships. What else do you need to do to stay on track for your weekly goals? You didn't have to set up your Apple Watch. You don't have to set up this for Cloze. It's also very accurate. It's based on your real activity because it's connected to your phone, calls, texts, emails, all of that. Just like the health app understands how you move. You can't really fake it that much, right? So there's no guesswork, but it's also automatic, right? Imagine using the health app and having to log every step you took. That'd be kind of crazy. Same thing with calls, emails, and meetings. A lot of systems require you to do all that work. I've seen some goal tracking systems where you literally have to put down everything you did and then it tallies it up. Nobody wants to do that. You don't have to do that with Cloze. So when you're looking at that section, you're going to see that weekly goal and then how much you've done right in the middle. Connect SkySlope and you're going to see your annual goals in there for GCI, things like that. So just put it in there. It'll make sure that the information is really accurate. You can adjust, and I'll show you in a second how to adjust these things if you want. When you do adjust, it's going to tell you how much more outreach you need to do. What's cool is that we did a big study of this. We analyzed thousands of agents, well over 10,000. And because a lot of the coaching will say, like, if you do this much outreach, you're going to get this many deals a year, and this is what it's worth. And they're not wrong. On average, for every 10 sides you want to close, you need to reach out to 4 clients per day. And I say clients because it's people in your sphere. You can't just reach out to random people. But if you're reaching out to that core sphere, it will yield business in a very specific ratio. And it just held. That's why Cloze is geared towards this kind of activity, right? If you're sphere selling and you want to get business from your sphere, the outreach is part of that. And so if you do it systematically, you will get the business. Very clear ratio as we go here. So 10 sides per year, 28 outreaches per week, you're in great shape. Reactions in the middle means you're on target, right? So the people are getting back to you. They know you're reaching out in the right way. And so one of the things we talk a lot about is authenticity. And you'll find that the simple check-ins, the simple outreach keeps you closer and you get reactions. Whereas those kind of glossy automated emails that come out every holiday, Labor Day is coming up and everybody sends a Labor Day, nobody opens the emails and nobody gets back to you about that because they know it was sent to a ton of people. But if you type a simple one like, hope you had a great summer, wishing you, happy Labor Day, big difference. Or if you know that they've got kids going back to college and you say, hope the move-in goes well, much more likely to react to that. So that's why we rethought how this all works. You're going to know exactly where you are for the goal for the week. It's always about the week. So you can see I've done 17 on my outreach. Reactions gives you a good kind of reinforcement of what you're doing is making a difference. And then the arrow there will give you pacing. It adapts based on seasonality, how you work during the week. Makes it very easy. And then you'll get a understanding of how many more you need to do to stay on pace, again, for the week. So if I do 5 more today, I'm on pace and I'll be good for the week. I got 42 to do for the week. Okay, so here's Cloze again. Here's my goal. So I'm at the beginning of the week. So my outreach, I got to do 31 for the week. I need 23 reactions, and I do 11 sides a year. So I am on pace, but I got 1 more I got to do in August for my sides. I got 8 more reactions, 8 more outreaches today, and then 2 more reactions. Beginning of the day, earlier in the day, so that's totally expected. By Wednesday, this will look very different, right? But the goal is watch these arrows to see where you are, and it'll help you stay on pace. Now, if I want to change things, I can just swipe, and then I could change my outreach goals. You can see here it's automatic. So your account's going to be set to automatic, but if I turn that off, I can then change my target to whatever I want. So I could say 50, and then when Cloze will readjust, and you can just use that as your goal. Okay. I could do that for my sides too. So if I've connected SkySlope, the 11 came from that. But if I say, okay, well, this year I want to do 15, hit save, and then we're going to backfill and say, okay, well, this is how much outreach you need to do to get to your 15. So it's based on real data, and that's the key thing. The other thing I'll show you here from a change perspective is you can reorder. So if you want to focus on your GCI, I just dragged it. See how this reorders? And then I'll see the GCI number instead. And if you want to change it around more, you can do that. Might be wondering why we only show 3, and there's a bunch of other things. There's actually a lot of data out there about this, and that most of us can only handle 3 goals at once. That's why Apple has 3 rings. They did a lot of science. They did a lot more research than you'd probably thought about on that. If you swipe the other way, you can see how you're hitting your goals. So the check marks when you're hitting it for the week gives you a good feel. Okay. So all that was swipe that way. Now, if I go over to my computer again, I can just roll over and I can click see the stats, and then just scroll down. So you can see both of these. Just look for the wrench or the rollover. So I click on the wrench. I can adjust those goals here. That's the reordering. So you can do it on either. Yeah. Easy to do. So AI reminders, there's lots of AI in Cloze, lots of AI reminders in Cloze. But what Adam here is talking about are reminders that come out of our email. We get tons of email a day, and it's easy to miss things. Easy just to have a message get pushed down. And so what Cloze is doing is just monitoring your inbox and looking for things. And so if somebody important reaches out and then you don't get back to them for a couple of days, you just miss the email completely, Cloze is going to remind you about that email. It's going to pop it back onto your agenda and say, hey, this is an important person. You should probably reach back out to them or reply to them. So it's going to catch things like that. It's also going to remind you about things like documents you need to sign, or if somewhere buried in the email, it says, hey, I need something by Saturday, it's going to say, you got to get this done on Saturday. So that's what he's talking about there. So here's an example of that. get an email, comes in, Cloze is monitoring it, and they say, give me a call Saturday morning. Well, Saturday morning, Cloze will remind you about the email just to make sure you didn't miss it. You'll get a notification on your watch or your phone. It'll notify you as many places as I can with a push notification. Documents, you're going to see SkySlope documents. All the signing tools are pretty much covered. So any of those that hit your inbox will alert you about that so you don't miss them. Now, one thing we do automatically is we'll grab contact information too. So if you're emailing back and forth with somebody, Cloze is going to, and they've got an email signature with new information, we're just going to update the contact for you so you don't even have to do it. Good use of AI, no typing or anything like that. All right, so let's look at one of those examples. We'll go down. I can see got an important message here from David. I'm going to tap on that. So somewhere in here, Dave sent an email to me this morning, and Cloze is going to remind me tonight at 6 p.m. about this email. And there it is. Please send me anything that fits the bill this evening. So Dave reached out. He's asking for me to do something this evening. Cloze caught it and is going to remind me this evening. So perfect example of this kind of a reminder. So you're not going to see these all the time, but that's exactly what Adam was talking about. It's like when you do, it makes a big difference. Again, like that personal assistant, keeping an eye on your inbox can make a big difference. Okay, open and link click tracking. Touched on this a little bit earlier. If you send an email through Cloze, this is on by default. We're going to tell you if the recipient has opened it or clicked on any link. You're going to see those open messages on the Cloze agenda. You're also going to see them on your lock screen on your phone. You can see an example of that there. But if we want to go back, we can quickly take a look at it here. So you can see these are what the messages look like on your agenda. Now, you could certainly reach out, but generally when you see a flurry, they're probably going to get back to you. At the minimum, you know that they're interacting with your email, which is pretty helpful. Now, if I was to click on one of these, tap on one of these, I can go to the bottom and I can see some details about the opens. In this case, he's opened it once. It was 67 minutes ago. If he opens it multiple times, I'm going to see more people. You're the only one who can see this. He can't see this. So just to be clear, they're not going to know. Okay. Simple. But I would generally, when I see a bunch, I know somebody's about to call me, that kind of thing, or reply. Okay, recurring anniversaries. We talked about this a little bit in the last class. Very handy feature. Cloze can remind you annually about any date you have set in your Cloze account. Purchase anniversary, sale anniversary, real estate review, wedding, whatever it might be. Those are going to show on the Cloze agenda. When you connect your SkySlope account, we're also going to backset those dates. So not only are we going to bring the contacts in, we're going to set the purchase anniversary, sale anniversary, and that kind of thing. If you have birthdays from other systems, like your Google contacts, you've set the birthdays in there, those will come in automatically into Cloze too. But you can, of course, set the birthday in Cloze. When you do, it'll come up. So the question we always get here is, can you bring in Facebook birthdays or Instagram or any of those? The answer is no. It's been almost 10 years now since they cut everybody off. So it's been a long time. We used to be able to do it, but it's been about 10 years. So they want you saying happy birthday in Facebook and seeing all those ads, or Instagram, same thing, using their platform, not another platform. But it's easy to add a birthday if you want. The only tip here is if you don't know the birth year, just put in the date. That's fine. We'll remind you every year. Just watch out for leap years and that kind of thing if it's in February. All kinds of different anniversaries. We've got a whole bunch of core ones there, but you can also add your own. You can customize it and add them. I can show you that in a second. And I'll also say is that any of these can be automated. So if you want something to go out automatically, you can one click and turn on a simple automation for birthdays or any of the dates you want, if you just want it to fire off on its own. A lot of people like to personally reach out on birthdays and things like that, but really up to you. So you can see here, I've got some of those, but very simple. Swipe to call like we did before, swipe to email, and then you can reach out. And again, there's that Ghostwriter. You can tap on that, and there's a little happy birthday, added emoji. Great. Good, simple example. All right. So as we wrap up here, I know we're at the top of the hour. I'll leave you with this piece as we wrap up, that leads can come from lots and lots of sources. And I always describe the inbox as where leads go to die. So if you get a lot of leads or any leads that land in your inbox, I know it's hard to get them into your CRM, right? Traditionally, Cloze can extract that information right out and not only alert you about the new lead immediately, but also bring it right into your Cloze account. So reach out to our team. Makes it very easy. We can make it easy for you to get it in there. All you got to do is tell us about the lead, give us some examples, and we can help with that. You can also do it yourselves. We got lots of documentation, but when it comes to new leads, it makes a big difference. If you're on a team, you can also automate other automations, like sending some, this is an example of a jump ball, right? Email comes in, we capture the lead and we send it out to the team. Tap to accept. First person to get it gets it. Okay. So you can do a lot with leads. This class is more about daily use, but I'll just mention that. So if you got website leads, any service you pay for, we can extract that information and make sure you get it right in there. All right. I'll leave you with Leslie here and his advice. So his advice is, and one of the things he loves about Cloze, and he's a leader, but his use is the same, right? He uses it on a daily basis, stays close to the people that matter to him. His point here is you might get through a bunch in the morning, but not get through all of it. But you have these little gaps of time. And because Cloze is surfacing in a whole agenda of activity that you can take care of, like maybe it's a birthday you didn't get to in the morning, between meetings, you can just simply get it done. Because it's all ready to go, simple swipe, and you did it. And those little nuggets make a big difference in the long-term relationships. So the routine here is 15 minutes a day, around there. Build those relationships, do your activities first thing, and then you'll have plenty of activity later in the day. You can get back into it if you need to, but start there on the agenda, check it each morning, and then use it throughout the day. Take notes, that kind of thing. And then I always like to see an end of day wrap up routine. So if you've got a bunch of calls at the bottom, things like that, or you've got meetings you want to reconfirm, you'll see your calendar in here, and it's just a simple swipe to reconfirm. Very easy. So at the end of the day, just take a run through here. You'll see your calls you've made through the whole day. You can add notes. You can send a follow-up email. Really, really helpful. Okay. All right. Are there any questions? I know we went a little long today. All right. I think we're good. So if you have not yet signed up, sign-up's been open since July 1. You can sign up there. Again, training every Monday and Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Get us that spreadsheet. We're more than happy to help get it into your Cloze account. Check out our help center at help.cloze.com. You can chat with us there. We've got answers to all kinds of common questions. You can read about new features there. You can read about all the basics. Email us 7 days a week at support@cloze.com. Learn.cloze.com is Cloze University. Check that out, self-paced learning. And then as you're using Cloze, you saw that built-in 5-step to set up success that you can walk through. Make sure you do all of that. If you need assistance with anything there, reach out to our team again, support@cloze.com, or chat with us at help.cloze.com. More than happy to help. All right. Well, thank you all very much, and we will talk to you on Wednesday. Thanks for joining.